right, so this is going to be another movie review. This is my second one of this weekend. It's Sunday, and it looks like I'm only going to get 2 movie reviews in. This one was free on YouTube. I can see why. It's dated and it's a terrible movie. I'm giving it 1 out of 5 stars. This one's called Crossroads 1986. I can't even read the movie poster. It's too small. Oh, wait. Can I zoom in? No. It's got the Karate Kid doing the blues, man. Crossroads is a 1986 U.S. musical drama inspired by the legend of blues musician Robert Johnson. Starring Ralph Macchio, the Karate Kid, Joe Seneca, Willie Brown. They even mentioned Petey Wheatstraw on this one. That was the highlight of this movie. I think I like Petey Wheatstraw better than this. And Jami Gertz, wow, she's hot. She is very attractive in this one. She plays a 17-year-old, though. She was born in 1965. She was not 17 years old in this movie. She was more like 21. So it's okay to be googly-eyed over this gal. Even though she plays a 17-year-old, she's actually 21. The film was written by John Fusco and directed by Walter Hill, who did The Warriors, 48 Hours, Another 48 Hours, Red Heat, and features an original score by Ry Cooder, featuring classical guitar by William Krennigizer and harmonica by Sonny Terry. Steve Vai appears in the film as the devil's virtuosic guitar player in the climatic guitar duel. That guitar duel is pretty lame. Steve Vai as a heavy metal dude, what's he doing in a blues film? He used to be with Frank Zappa. All right. He looks like he's in a hair band with that funky tattoo on his shoulder. Fusco was a traveling blues musician prior to attending New York University Tisch School of the Arts, where he wrote Crossroads as an assignment in a master class led by the screenwriting giants Walter Salt and Ring Lardner Jr. The student's screenplay won first place in the National Focus Awards films of college and university students, and it was sold to Columbia Pictures while Fusco was still a student. "17-year-old Eugene Martone has a fascination for blues music while studying classical guitar at Juilliard School in New York City. Researching blues and guitar music brings famed Robert Johnson's mythically creative acclaim to his attention. Especially intriguing are the legends surrounding exactly how Johnson became so talented, most notably the one claiming he sold his soul to the devil at the Crossroads, as well as a famed missing song that was lost, supposedly evermore, to the world. In his quest to find the song, he researches old archive newspaper clippings, learning that Johnson's longtime friend, musician Willie Brown, Willie Lee Brown, is alive and incarcerated for murder or attempted murder in a nearby minimum security hospital. Eugene goes to see the elderly man who denies several times that he is that Willie Brown. He finally admits his identity after hearing Eugene play some blues, but notes that Eugene plays with no soul. Willie then says he knows the missing Robert Johnson tune in question, but he refuses to give it to Eugene unless the boy breaks him out of the facility and gets him to Mississippi, where he has some unfinished business to settle. Eugene agrees and they head south. The boy soon realizes, however, that Willie is constantly running minor scams, such as falsely claiming that he has enough money to cover their bus tickets with only $40 on them. They end up hoboing from Memphis to Mississippi. During their quest, Eugene and Willie experience the blues legacy of Robert Johnson firsthand, taking part in an impromptu jam session at a juke joint, as Willie calls it, where Eugene is given the nickname Lightning Boy by Willie because of his musical skill. Eugene jokingly suggests that he himself ought to sell his soul to the devil at the Crossroads. Willie angrily slaps him and demands he not joke about that. So this is from Columbia Pictures, release date March 14th, 1986, running time 99 minutes, box office $5,839,000. The pair meet 17-year-old Frances, who's really 21 years old, and she's hot, but she doesn't get naked in this one. You just see her removing her shirt, no bra, from her backside. So you only get to see her back. And this is a rated R movie. I guess it's rated R for cursing. I don't know. Why is this rated R? She is fleeing her abusive stepfather, Frances. She hits hikes with them, and she and Eugene start a relationship. Yeah, they have sex off camera in some loft in Mississippi. When she abandons them to continue her own journey, Eugene is left heartbroken, but with a deeper feeling for the blues. Too bad she left. This was the highlight of. She was the highlight of this film, and she didn't get naked. And there was a mention of Petey Wheatstraw, which is a great movie, by the way. Willie helps Eugene buy a portable pig nose amplifier through which Eugene plays his old Fender Telecaster. Willie tells Eugene that the secret of playing the blues is using a slide. Willie confesses that there is no missing Johnson song, but Willie tells the boy that he has proven himself far beyond what learning any blues song could ever teach him. They reach a deserted crossroads in rural Mississippi, where Willie reveals his secret. His ability on the harmonica came about because of a deal with the devil, which he made at this very location. Willie now hopes to end the deal. The devil, who calls himself Scratch and Legba, shows up, and the devil insists that the contract with Willie is still valid, even if Willie is dissatisfied with how his life turned out. Eugene, believing the two are joking around, steps into the conversation. The devil offers a challenge. If Eugene can come to a special concert and win a guitar battle with his ringer guitarist, Steve Vai, then Willie gets his soul back. If Eugene loses, then Eugene too forfeits his soul. Despite Willie's protests, Eugene agrees to the deal. Willie and Eugene are transported to a music hall where metal blues guitar master Jack Butler. What is a metal blues guitar master? I didn't even know that existed until I saw this movie. Who also sold his soul for music ability, Jack Butler, is wowing the crowd with his prowess. He's doing the Eddie Van Halen guitar shred. Eugene now, he's got his wah-wah pedal. Eugene, now understanding the situation, receives a mojo bag from Willie. Oh, he's got some voodoo stuff to hold in his pocket. He also slips his slide on, giving him a perceived advantage over his opponent. Eugene and Butler trade flamboyant guitar parts, with each able to top the other. Eventually, Eugene falls back on his classical training, playing a fast and difficult piece that Butler cannot match. Dejected, Butler drops his guitar and strides off, and the devil tears up Willie's contract, freeing the blue man's soul. Wow. What a mess. I couldn't even follow that last part at the end. I didn't see the devil ripping up a contract. Maybe I was distracted. I'll have to go back and watch it again. All right. The script was an original by John Fusco, who had long been interested in blues music. He worked as a blues singer and musician, but had been warned by a doctor to rest his voice. My stepdad knew John Lee Hooker. John Lee Hooker, who died in 2001. My stepdad was friends with him. He was John Lee Hooker's insurance agent. He's ranked 35 in Rolling Stone's 2015 list of 100 greatest guitarists. And he's one of the greatest male blues vocalists of all time. They should have made a movie about John Lee Hooker. Anyways. Fusco worked as a blues singer and musician, but had been warned by a doctor to rest his voice. In 1981, his girlfriend, who was working at a rest home, told him that an old black man with a harmonica had been admitted. Fusco went to visit him, and on the way dreamt up a story about what would happen if the player was a legendary blues player. This gave him the idea for the story. He expanded on the myth of Robert Johnson selling his soul to the devil at the Crossroads. Coincidentally, Johnson was inducted to the inaugural class of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in January 1986 while the film was in production. Fusco wrote the script at his master's thesis at New York University. It was only his second screenplay. Producer Mark Carliner acted as Fusco's independent advisor on it. And Carliner later helped get it made. Fusco was paid $250,000. That was a lot of dough back in the 80s, man. Back in the early 80s. What was the prime rate in 1981? Prime rate. Uh, 20.5% in August 1981. Wow. I'm glad I'm glad it's not that high now, but it's probably pretty high now. Um, I got my platinum card, zero APR, zero fees, only $2,400 credit limit. Yeah. So I got it right here. That's not it. This one here. I applied for another one. I don't know if the bank's going to realize that they already sent me one and I haven't used it yet. But I'm getting desperate. I was hoping that my Robinhood would skyrocket instead of tanked. I lost about $800 or almost half of my my Robinhood account during the past week and a half. I was hoping to make about $3,000. I ended up losing $800. My life is so doomed. Jami Gertz was cast as a female lead. She had the warmth I was looking for, Hill said, and she was feisty. Yeah, but I wondered, is she strong enough? She has to put Macchio through the experience of falling in love, and then she has to leave him to strengthen his character for the movie's final showdown. I decided to go with her, and I was amazed by how strong she seemed on the screen. Guitar specialist Arlen Roth was hired as Macchio's musical coach. He was aware of some of the surface similarities to the Karate Kid. You boil it down, and it sounds like a young kid with a wise old guy in their showdown with evil, said Hill. But if you really look at Crossroads, it's a completely different movie. I knew my most difficult cast would be creating real believable scenes between Macchio and Seneca. They had to be real characters with an ongoing reality level to work at all. You have to set the stage, or when the movie shifts gears to fantasy, you lose your audience. Yeah. You lost your audience right here. Eating Thai food, chicken fried why, and chicken noodles. Chicken fried why. All right. Shooting took place. Oh, Karate Man's in the chat room. Cool. Shooting took place in Bala, Mississippi, as well as Hollywood. Hollyweird. Blues legend Frank Frost makes a cameo. I think the blues still speaks to kids today, said Ry Cooder, who performed the music with Steve Vai and Arlen Ross. It's so old that it's new. Wow. Cooter says the final duel involving Vai had to be all mapped out, since we had to carefully choreograph the call and response of that guitar duel and use it as playback during the filming. Steve Vai is tremendously scientific when it comes to guitar playing, and Vai was able to adapt to that process. The original script ended with Joe Seneca's character dying on a Greyhound bus. Director Walter Hill's father had died shortly before production commenced, and he found filming this scene difficult. So he also shot a happier ending. Both were tested with audiences. The happy ending was chosen. Crossroads was Robert Judd's final film role. He died of stomach cancer in January 1986, 2 months before the film's theatrical release. Ry Cooder spent a year working on the film. He later said, "That was an easy film to understand. We've all looked at the myth about a white kid going south, and I knew the signposts along the way, old-time players, juke joints, the lonely roads you go down. These things are all wordlessly spoken of in blues music, which is an encyclopedia of experience. I had songs in my head that dealt with every scene in Crossroads. To mold them into shape for that film was like Blues 101. Macchio, Karate Man, was taught, Karate Kid. I said Karate Man. I knew Karate Man was going to focus in on his Walter Hill. He mentions every action movie besides Crossroads, which is not an action movie. All right. Where was I? Macchio was taught to play guitar by Alan Roth in preparation for filming The Karate Kid. Roth writes that he and Macchio would work together for 2 hours per day, after which Macchio would work with his karate instructor to prepare for the forthcoming Karate Kid 2, which I have not seen, but it's on my list. Macchio initially hoped to be able to play some of the music on screen himself, but came to realize that the difficult pieces the professional guitarists were preparing would be beyond him. So basically, he's playing air guitar. The climactic guitar duel between Eugene and Butler was originally intended to be a slide guitar blues contest, with Cooder appearing on screen as Butler and with Roth dubbing Eugene's part. Director Walter Hill decided to replace Cooder and produce a harder boxing match style battle with Keith Richards, Frank Zappa, and Stevie Ray Vaughan considered for the part of Butler. He settled with Alcatraz player Steve Vai, who was part of Frank Zappa's band previously, I guess. I guess Steve Vai was in Frank Zappa, then he moved to Alcatraz, hoping that the fashionable shred guitar style would increase the film's appeal to a wider audience. Trying to reel in the Van Halen fans. Cooder was disappointed. He and Roth felt the use of a contemporary musical style was not in keeping with the movie's blues themes and would badly date the film later. Exactly my point. Cooder is making my point right here. This film is dated. Why do you have a hairband guitar player in a blues movie? What is wrong with you people? The director shot an additional duel, which was to appear before the final confrontation. This pitted Vai's Jack Butler against a blues player portrayed by Shruggy Otis. Otis was to lose this, establishing how threatening Butler was. The producers decided not to use this footage in the final film. Eugene wins the duel by playing a neoclassical metal composition called Eugene's Trick Bag of Voodoo, I might add, which quotes heavily from the violin virtuoso Niccolo Paganini's Caprice Number 5. So it's a neoclassical metal composition. What does that have to do with blues? Again, I pose the question. This reprises parts of the classical playing that William Kanigser had dubbed for Eugene for the film's beginning. In the final duel, Vai dubs Eugene's Trick Bag with Macchio mimed on Eugene's Telecaster. The identity of the real supercat super strat guitar player that Butler plays on screen became something of a mystery. Guitar World magazine later uncovered it was a custom Charvel built by either Grover Jackson or Charvel builder Mike Shannon, equipped with DiMarzio pickups and a Floyd Rose tremolo. The guitar was Val's own. As Butler drops it heavily to the floor, the production team hastily constructed mock-up instruments for the shot. The original guitar, signed by Vai, is now in the collection of the Hard Rock Cafe Company. Roth later released a recording of the final duel between himself and Cooder and his SoundCloud on his SoundCloud channel. A soundtrack album was released alongside the film, featuring 37 minutes of the film's music. The album does not feature Eugene's classical playing, which was performed by William Cannongeiser. I always have trouble with that name. Nor the final duel with Jack Butler. Vai's playing, including the duel, is featured on his film The Elusive Light and Sound, Volume 1. I think I'll pass on that one. I like baby snakes. I do not like this one. Farlander said this is as tricky a picture to market as anything. I was the first one who tried to sell this story. I know how tricky it is. It could be a classic crossover movie, but you could blow that opportunity real quick with a bad campaign. He thought Columbia had an excellent marketing team and liked that the studio spent $6 million on launching it. Well, they lost money. According to Ry Cooder, the film went down the tubes. I can see why. First of all, it has an R rating for swearing. And second of all, I give it 1 out of 5 stars. The film managed a domestic total gross of $5,839,031, which is not much even in 1986 dollars. As of 2024, the film has a 82% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes with 17 reviews. Roger Ebert, in his review, stated the movie borrows so freely and is a reminder of so many other movies that it's a little startling at the end to realize how effective the movie is and how original it manages to feel despite all the plunderings. He praised the film's acting and music, giving the movie 3.5 stars out of 4. It figures. So Ry Cooder was nominated for 1986 Film Fest Gent Georges Delarue Prize for Best Original Music, and he won the award. All right. So here we have, as expected, we have a laundry list of action movies by Walter Hill, Karate Man's favorite director, and I probably have all of them on my list, but I'll double check. Or I've reviewed one of the 48 hours. I don't remember. Anyways, actually, I was right, of course. I'm not following Karate Man. Okay, so we got 48 hours, another 48 hours. Extreme Prejudice. Uh, Red Heat, which I used to have on VHS. I think I played that movie at a friend's house and I fell asleep. Last Man Standing. Southern Comfort. Sounds like this movie, Crossroads. Hard Times. Okay, I got all of them typed up. I'm going to go check on them to see if I've reviewed them or they're on my list. I'm not sure what actually it was I was right, of course, means. But okay, Karate Man, nice chatting with you. I'll see if I can add any missing Walter Hill movies to my list. Laters.